Once you start taking this approach of massive honesty with yourself and going, look, it's okay to have resistance. If I didn't have resistance, I would probably be dead. You'd probably do stupid because you wouldn't feel the fear. You wouldn't do whatever, right? So resistance is a good, helpful thing in most cases, but in some cases, it's actually holding you back. Which approach do you take? Do you go at the hardest thing first, or do you kind of ease your way in with a beginner task? Almost like stretching before the run. Or are you the type of person that goes metaphorically straight into the run? I like to be both. And I'll tell you why. Because if we just allow ourselves one approach, then we're really fragile, right? We're not understanding properly, in my opinion, that the world is going to be changing. Our emotions, our feelings, all of these things are in flux all the time. If we rely on that singular approach, then we're not going to be open to the possibility of a better approach in that moment. And this is where I think this meta skill of knowing when to use which, what belief to have on, what app to have running on your personal software. What is this frame through which I want to see this experience, and how do I want to approach it, right? What's the best program to run in this scenario? Now, in terms of how to do that, I'm not exactly sure how to guide you there. What I can say is that trying different approaches deliberately can be very helpful, right? It's like taking different classes in college. If you don't know what you want to major in, well, don't just take astronomy classes. Don't just take business classes. Try to spread yourself out and take a bunch of different classes, right? That's how we taste the ice cream so that we can experience what our best flavor is. Now, I say that because sometimes it's easier for me to attack the thing head on, the most important thing. And that's in a way what we all want to strive to do. But sometimes we need to build up to that, even on the day and even on the month. It's like, you know, you have this big project to do, but it's so much easier just to make a quick post, or so much easier just to do this little email instead right now. I need to do these things. And although we'd all love to easily do the important urgent, that's not always the case. So for me, what I like to do is, if I can do that, beautiful. And I've tried my best to make my habits, the automatic transitions between one behavior to the next, I've tried to make those as smooth as possible so that I get to the place for me to do that thing. In this case, it's working in my office. This is something that I think goes unnoticed, the task switching ability and habitualizing, automating of that switch from one to the other. If you want more on that, domino transitions, I made a full video on it. So I think that's the first step, is try to automate to get yourself to that place, because it's much easier to continue than it is to start. So if we can make the 0 to 1, this automatic thing that occurs, beautiful. We're setting ourselves up for success. But I'll tell you what, that is not always enough. The fear that is here sometimes is very difficult to push through, or the emotions that get in your way, or something else happening in your life that gets in your way, throws you off track, right? So then what do we do? For me, I like to really break it down to what's a small thing that is still in line. It doesn't have to be the exact project that I'm working on, but what's in line with my bigger, deeper goal, right? If you don't have a priority list, I might offer you starting there, because you need that to ensure that you know what your most important thing is to do. But once you have that, if it's kind of scaring you off for whatever reason, one, we need to be very real with ourselves. Like, okay, am I avoiding this? Yes. If you avoid your avoidance, you're not going to do much. But if you accept, you're like, I am avoiding this. Then it becomes, okay, well, how can I not avoid this? Or maybe, why am I avoiding this so that I can get that out of the way? Maybe there's some completely ultra emotional resistance because there's actually some more important thing that you're not acknowledging that's not on your most important priority list. Maybe you have to have a tough conversation with a family member or a friend or something like that that's holding you back from pursuing the real thing that you want to do. So maybe we have to tackle that first. And oftentimes, if you do identify one of those, beautiful, and then you're off to the races. It's like a spring that just got loaded, like a pinball machine, something like that. So if you can be honest with yourself to that extent of acknowledging, hey, this is probably why I'm being held back, or maybe it's putting something out. I'm learning more and more that the more I put myself out, that is a real point of resistance for me. So the way that I can counter that is by just filming, telling myself, hey, I don't have to post any of this. I can just speak to the camera. Right? That type of almost alternate perspective. It's like a shift. And I don't know what this is going to be for you, right? Each task is going to have its own. Each person is going to have their own way to overcome or sidestep, outsmart, what have you. So just testing and toying with different ideas is the first step past acknowledging. And once you start testing these different approaches, like, hey, starting small, what's a task that is going to lead me towards that thing, or going to decrease the amount of emotion I feel when doing this thing, or actually close that loop that's been in the back of my mind for way too long. Once you start taking this approach of massive honesty with yourself and going, look, it's okay to have resistance. If I didn't have resistance, I would probably be dead. You'd probably do stupid because you wouldn't feel the fear, you wouldn't do whatever, right? So resistance is a good, helpful thing in most cases, but in some cases, it's actually holding you back. So acknowledging, hey, this thing is helpful usually, maybe not right now. If not right now, what can I do about it? How can I take action in some way that's gonna help me get to that point? Now, I know all of this might be seemingly obvious, but if you're like me, you need to hear things 100 times before they really sink in. You need to take action before it really gets true to you and your body, right? We're moving from an intellectual understanding of to an embodiment of, an enactment ability, okay? So I'm just trying to help you get there. If this is just a ping on your radar, this is a little more inspirational to get you to take that action, please do so. That's how we're gonna make happen that we want to. Okay, so figure out how you can overcome your resistance by first acknowledging that it's there, and then take different approaches, right? Try out different classes, try those different flavors of resistance ice cream until you find the best approach for you. Grab a spoon or a waffle cone, give it a go. All right, my name is Chris, I'm with Hack That Habit. I will be here teaching you, sharing with you online video and in person. If you want a habit teammate, as I like to call myself, because I'm on the path with you, let me know in the comments below, or go to my website, hackthathabit.com, and book me as your habit teammate. I'll see you there.